Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Not Overthinking It. I'm Elizabeth, your host, and today's episode is all about having more influence than you think. So today is, I want to say, episode 8, and this is my second video podcast. I tried to upload last week's video to Spotify, but I couldn't figure it out. So if you're more of like a visual person, then check out my YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello. I am gonna have, oh my gosh, maybe I should probably close my window. One second. So now we're gonna get on to the actual episode, and today's topic is you have more influence than you think. And what inspired me to make this episode? Well, there's a lot of things, but I was doing a podcast episode with one of my friends, and we were talking about how all of our friends are essentially influencers, and everyone in our life are influencers. And I think the term influencer has a negative connotation, or if not negative, then people just assume that to be an influencer, you have to be a content creator or a celebrity. But if you really think about your everyday life, people that you interact with who you have no idea their social status have directly impacted you more than you think, and that is true for yourself too. So me and my friend were talking, and we were saying, like, if we look around at the things that we have bought, it's most of the time because of our friend who suggested it, or our coworker, our parents. It's things that people in our world tell us or recommend to us. And I feel like people don't really realize that they have more impact than they actually do, because again, like I said, it's assumed that in order to get paid attention to, you kind of have to have a platform. But that is just not the case. I hope that you leave this episode realizing your power and using that for the better in your everyday life. Let's start off with some examples. I did a journal prompt the other day where it was list people who have made the biggest impact in your life and what it is that they did. Because most of the time, these people don't even realize the effect that they leave on your life. And same for me. I talk to so many people every day. I work as a medical assistant. I see 20 to 30 patients a day. With each interaction, I try my best to be as present and attentive as possible and make sure that I'm actually listening to what they're saying, because you never know how that single interaction is going to affect them. I'll give you some examples. I had a patient whose dog died, and she was really upset about it, and I was talking to her about it, consoling her, and I go, "Can I see some pictures of your dog?" She whips out her phone and she shows me her whole album. Of course, she has an album, right? She's showing me these pictures of her dog and the trips they went on, the life they lived together, and she's like obviously very sad about it because your dog is your family. And we were looking at pictures of her dog for probably 30 minutes. And then she had her appointment, walks out, and she goes, "Thank you so much for asking me to show you those pictures. Like, I feel so much better right now." And I think that's exactly what I needed, because nobody really asks you to see pictures. It's always like you want to show people pictures, but you don't want to intrude on them. And the same goes for, I was having a conversation with a mom that I met about her kids. And parents love to talk about their kids, and they can talk about their kids forever. So I asked her to see pictures of her kids, and that lit her up. And she was like, "Wow, thank you so much for asking me. I feel like I always love talking about my kids, but I don't want to bother people, and I feel like no one cares." So I just know that those interactions with them, while it was maybe minor to me and I didn't really think much of it in the moment, but that impacted them. And you literally, it's just like a chain of events. So like from that moment on, you never really know what that energy that you leave someone with, how it's going to carry over into their day and into their interactions with people. It's really like a chain of events. And I now want to introduce the quote of the day because I'm staring right at it. It's on my wall. It says, "Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases from being shared." I love this quote. It just reminds me that you should be giving your best self to everyone you come across because you really never know how it's going to be received. And you don't know what people are going through. We all have more influence than we think. So I hope that this just makes you more conscious of that and that you want to be a good role model because we all have the power to change the world. And it's just about our mindset and our intention. Another example is growing up, I had a little cousin who was a brat to me. Let's be real. I had a rocky relationship with her, even to high school and college. She's 4 years younger than me, but I told her I wanted to distance myself from her because I didn't really like being around her and I thought she was really mean. She would always make fun of me, and it was just not in a nice way. It wasn't like she was being lighthearted about it. But I never was mean back. And that's another thing that I will always try to remain collected and just choose to remove myself from the situation rather than try to like get revenge or get even, whatever. So I honestly just told her, like, I want to distance myself from you. You don't make me feel good. Then she sends me an legit like an essay. It's I think 3 pages. And I look at it. It's titled like My Cousin Elizabeth or something like that. And it was a homework assignment, but it was from, I want to say, months before we even had this conversation. And it was all about why she admires me and how I'm her biggest inspiration. And it was so detailed from the point of like, I admire Elizabeth because of how selfless she is. And in high school, she brought in a foreign exchange student and let him into our family because he had no other family. And that inspired me to be more inclusive of other people and welcoming because I saw the impact that Elizabeth had on this foreign exchange student and how she so selflessly just accepted him into the family. And so, and then obviously there were like other examples, even from the point of her having the same handwriting as me because she admires me so much. And I would never have known that because of how she would treat me growing up. But I now know that it was more out of a place of maybe insecurity and she didn't really know how to show love. And so just reading that opened my mind and I was like, everything I do is being watched in some way. Whether or not I realize it, my little cousin, like even having my handwriting, noticing things that I do, but not ever saying anything about it. So the point being that even if nobody's acknowledging it directly, they're taking note and that is affecting them in some way. And this can go for the negative too. I'm sure there are like bad habits I've done that other people see and are like, oh, if she does it, if she does that, I could do it too. But our actions and words hold so much weight. And I think that just knowing that people are observing, even in silence, is more motivation for me to be the best that I can be. My little cousin watching me grow up was a huge one. And even in like on the flip side, thinking about the people that have impacted me, one specific girl comes to mind. I was 12 years old at the airport. There's this really pretty girl. She had like big curly hair, and I was a shy, awkward girl, never really smiled at strangers. But I make eye contact with her and she gives me the biggest smile I've ever seen. And I smiled so hard. And in that moment, I realized the power of a smile to a stranger. It was the simplest act. To her, probably meant nothing. I mean, she doesn't remember me, I'm sure of it. But the way that I still think about that moment, because it was an epiphany for me. Like, wow, the power of a stranger smiling at you. Like I said, it inspired me to want to return the favor to other people. So it's like really a chain reaction. And from there, I really made it a goal of mine to be better at smiling at people, to be better at making people feel important and making people feel heard and seen, listening to them when they're speaking. Another example, I'm sure like in a group setting, we've all experienced feeling like you aren't being heard, or like you have to talk over people in order to be heard. And I can vividly recall my friend. I was talking, got cut off unintentionally, the convo changes, and she goes, "Oh, Elizabeth, what were you saying?" And just that acknowledgement made me feel really important. And again, I'm sure she doesn't even think about that moment, but that inspires me to, if I'm ever in a group setting, I want to return the favor for someone else and remember that line, "Oh, blah blah blah. What were you saying?" Even if they get cut off, because I know how good that feels. And coming back to the beginning, everyone just wants to feel important, seen, heard, understood. That's really the fundamentals of the human need, aside from the basics. A great activity to do is writing down the people and interactions that really touched you, and thinking about how even though they're so minor, they touched you in a way that is gonna change your perspective or change your actions and make you want to be a better person. And then that could also make you realize the power that you hold in social situations. Moving on to like more social media relations, I will say that stories, I watch all my friends' stories religiously. I like love them. And I love my friends' content the most. If you were to ask me whose content do you consume the most or pay most attention to, it's my friends. The friends that I'm very close to and that I speak with on a day-to-day basis, or even the friends that I look up to. I admire their style. I admire their way of thinking. So these are the people that I'm looking at their stories, and if they tell me something, I'm going to trust them and I'm going to take their advice. There's a friend that I have, her name's Jocelyn, and literally I'll be like, anything you tell me, I'll do. I just trust you. I love your mind. I love your style, whatever. You think I should buy these hoop earrings? I'll buy them. Literally that happened. She said, "I want to see you in hoop earrings. Like, I think they would look so cute on you." Boom, bought them. She told me she thinks I should revamp my wardrobe slowly but surely so that I feel more confident in my style. And the next day I literally went shopping. Not like I'm not buying all these crazy things, but she's planting the seed and inspiring me to take action. Think about like your friends and how important their perspective and their opinion is to you, and know that it's the same for you with them. I also think that while I'm very like I'm a smaller creator, I know for a fact that I have inspired other girls to make content or to pursue their interests, to take control of their life, to do things outside of work. People have tagged me in their 5-minute journal. People have tagged me in their protein that I encourage them to buy. So, and these are like most of the people that support me are my friends. It's not even like random people on the internet that I had to grow a huge following to get that type of support. It's people that know me directly or indirectly, whatever, we have mutuals. But I think that's even more proof that you can make such a big impact in your tiny community than you realize. Me being a smaller creator, I still know that I'm impacting people, inspiring them, and I think it honestly gives people more inspiration in some ways because they feel like they're a little bit more close to where I'm at. Like it's not an overwhelming, you look at someone, idolize them, and you're like, oh, I can never get to that point because she's so successful, and it's just like I'm so far from that. I think I may be just like a step above, not superiority wise, but just like in action, maybe a step further than other people, so they feel like there's only a small gap to where they are and like ideally where they want to be. And I come from a small, not a small city, but a high school where people, like obviously people from high school still follow me, and some of them follow my fitness account and my social media pages. And I know because I get messages from them, even people that I haven't talked to in forever, they'll message me and be like, hey, I know I haven't talked to you in a while, but I see what you're doing, and like I just want you to know it's really inspiring and I really enjoy your content. And it's just people that I wouldn't really expect to care or take notice of, but they do, and then they make those comments, and it just confirms to me that you don't have to have these crazy numbers to make an impact. And the last point I want to touch on is with this new acknowledgement of your impact, please just be as authentic to yourself as possible. It's like, okay, now that you understand, yeah, you're right. I do have a lot of power, way more than I think. You have the power to change people's lives. You have the power to maybe, like for me, my dad, I have helped make him a better, more self-aware person. That's just me and him. Just think about your family and the direct impact you have on their lives. Like you can improve their lives, and that's like a huge thing. That's a whole person's life. And I think so, thinking about what can you do with this new understanding of how powerful you are is really be as authentic as you can be. Don't try to be like anyone else. Don't look at other people and be like, "Oh, this is what she's doing. She's like growing and super influential, so I have to do that exactly like that." Or, "Oh, this guy, my neighbor went to medical school and he's getting all this praise, and so now I have to do that, or I have to follow in that footstep." Do it what it is that is going to light you up and allow you to give the most energy to other people. If you are doing something that you hate, you are going to be resentful towards people around you. Your interactions with people are going to be less than stellar, less than energetic. But when you're doing something that lights you up, legit, people can sense that, feel that, and that is where you are powerful. You are in your power when you are being true to yourself and doing what you want. You being authentic shows other people who can relate to that they can do it too. So, for example, if you're just going with the herd, oh, medical school, doctor, family, done, then other people who see that might not feel like they have another option. But if you're like, I will give an example of Ali Abdaal. He's a YouTuber now, but he was once a doctor. He did the medical route, but then discovered content creation, then did content creation outside of medical school, and now he's a full-time content creator. And that inspires so many people who are feeling stuck maybe in their job, maybe they're in law school, and like a medical profession is a huge, you have a huge title in society, and to end that and all the hard work that came with that, to like quote throw it away, which you're not throwing it away because he developed like self-discipline from that and learned how to study and be good at time management in that time and good with people. But him taking the leap into content creation shows other people that they can do it too. Even if it's not content creation. I know so many people who want to do different things in their life, but they just feel stuck. Even how I said it, I feel stuck sometimes. But seeing how other people pivot or do things out of the ordinary or not conventional inspires other people and shows them that they can do it too. So honestly, at the end of the day, do what you feel called to do, even if you do want to take the more traditional route and that's truly what you want, then I want to say you inspire me because I love looking at people who are very content with their life. That makes me feel good. It's like a warm hug. I have a friend who's a mother. She has one kid and one on the way. Just like a beautiful family in San Diego. And she loves life, and seeing life through her lens really comforts me. And I tell her that all the time. I'm like, you are my comfort creator. You're my comfort influencer. And so I just think that at the end of the day, it's all about stepping into your highest power by being yourself. I hope that inspires you to be your freaking self as like genuinely and as deeply as you can be, and know that you have eyes watching you, you have power, you have a voice. The things you say and do are important. You have the power to change lives and the world, impact the community. You have so much power. What can you do with the power that you have? And whatever it is that you feel called to do, please just leap into that. You don't have to tackle all of your goals at once, but just make that promise to yourself that you're gonna, from now on, start trusting yourself, trusting your voice, and using that inner guidance and confidence to touch others' lives. Period. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, please give this a thumbs up. If you're listening on Spotify, please give it a rating, or on Apple Podcasts. And follow the Instagram at Not Overthinking a Podcast. Until next week, bye.